החמה מראש האילנות נסתלקה, בואו ונצא לקראת שבת המלכה, הנה היא יורדת הקדושה הברוכה, ועמה מלאכים צבא שלום ומנוחה. בואי בואי המלכה, בואי בואי הברוכה, שלום עליכם, שלום עליכם, שלום עליכם, מלאכי השלום. בואי בואי המלכה, בואי בואי הברוכה, שלום עליכם, שלום עליכם, שלום עליכם, מלאכי השלום.
Shabbat Shalom. See, this is what Rabbi Cosgrove was talking about. We're a little rusty, right? When we say Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Bruchim Habaim. Welcome to Park Avenue Synagogue. It is great to see those who are here in person. I said this last week. I feel like I'm going to keep saying it. The novelty has not yet worn off of actually seeing human faces when we look out and being with community, not just virtually, but also here in person. So I want to welcome those who are here. I want to welcome those who are joining us via the live stream, wherever you are. Wherever we find you, we want to welcome you to Park Avenue Synagogue. It is a blessing to be able to celebrate Shabbat with you. We are blessed, as always, with many B'nai Mitzvah this Shabbat. I want to wish a Mazal Tov to Sarah Markowitz. Sarah, you will be called to the Torah tomorrow morning. To your parents, to Rebecca and Murray, I want to wish you a Mazal Tov. Avery Metz, you will be called to the Torah tomorrow morning. And I want to wish a Mazal Tov to your parents, to Lara and to Corey. And Julie and Malter, tomorrow afternoon, you will celebrate becoming a bar mitzvah as you are called to the Torah. And to Don and to Kara, I want to wish you a Mazal Tov for all of you on these wonderful occasions of your family. We are going to get started in just a moment. If you are joining us for the live stream and you want to follow along, you can go to our website, pasyn.org, and you can download the Siddur that we are using, Siddur Lev Shalem for Shabbat. We'll be calling pages from that, and you can follow along. If you're able to, I would like you to please rise for Hadlakat Nerot. You can find that on page 4.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של be seated. We turn our Siddurim to page 10 for Yedid Nefesh. Lai 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 yai na 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 Yedid Nefesh Av HaRachaman Meshoch Ahavda El Retzona מתחבא אל מול ההדרה, ירהב לו ידידותיו מנופץ צור וכל דעת. לה 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 לכו נרנן על אדוני, נריע לצור אישנו, נקדם לפניו בתודה, בזמירות נריע לו. 40 שנה אקוט בדור, ואומר עמתו אל לבבהם, והם לא ידעו דרכי, אשר נשבעתי ואפי, אם יבואון אל מנוחתי. Turn to page 13, שירו לאדוני, sing a new song. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, וכל העמים נפלאותיו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, וכל העמים נפלאותיו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. מיום ליום, מיום ליום, מיום ליום, מיום ליום, מיום ליום, מיום ליום, מיום ליום ליום ישועתו. ישמחו השמיים ותגיל הארץ, ירם הים ומלואו, יעלון שדי וכל אשר בו, אז ירננו כל הצייר לפני אדוני, קיווה לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט אבל בצדק ועמים באמונתו. Page 19. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו, רוממו אדוני אלוהינו, והשתחוו להר קודשו, והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש, כי קדוש, כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו, כי קדוש, כי קדוש, כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. רוממו Adonai Eloheinu. If you're able, please rise on page 21. Havul Adonai b'nei Elim, Havul Adonai kavod va'oz, Havul Adonai kevod shemo ishtach, Havul Adonai behadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod irim, Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai b'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vaishaber Adonai et arzei alvanon, Vayarkidem kemo egel, Levanon veSirion, kemo ven re'emim. Adonai למבול ישר, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום.
You may be seated. Shabbat Shalom. Tomorrow will mark an important day in the modern Jewish calendar. It'll be June 5th, which is the 54th anniversary of the beginning of the Six-Day War, which was one of the most miraculous moments in Jewish history, if not one of the most stunning military victories ever. Now, some of the stories of these days are well known. You think about Mata Gor and paratroopers making their way to the Temple Mount. And I've said this before, you can actually Google this. You can listen to it. You can hear a recording of the walkie-talkie transmission, HaKotel B'Yadenu, the Temple Mount is in our hands. And to the sensitive listeners, that's not just some military update to Central Command. It's actually this amazing historical moment, this historical claim that the very place that Jews had been orienting themselves to for thousands of years, the very place that we have been praying to return to, no matter where we lived, was actually in our hands. Now here's what you may not know. At that moment of celebration, the brigade's chief communications officer, Ezra Orny, he grabs an Israeli flag from his backpack and he goes over to Mata Gor and he asked whether he could hang this flag over the Dome of the Rock. And what does Mata Gor say? Yalla. He says, go, do it. Orny climbs to the top of the building, and he victoriously fastens this flag to the Dome of the Rock, to the pole on top of the Dome of the Rock. Now, how many of you have seen this image? Anyone seen this image? It's a trick question, because you haven't seen the image. There's not a picture that exists, because at that very moment, Moshe Dayan is watching this all from the Mount Scopus site where he is sort of supervising this, and he sees this flag goes up, and he immediately radios Mata Gor, and he says, take this down. Essentially, he says, do you want the Middle East to explode into violence? Take it down. Gor tells his deputy to do it. His deputy can't bring himself to actually do it. He appoints someone else to lower the Israeli flag, and it's done. What a moment of religious restraint. Years of dreaming. Think about it. The years that went into this moment only to yield sovereignty. It wasn't the first time. Israel was willing to accept far less than it wanted to in 1948 to ensure that there would be a homeland for the Jews. It was willing to celebrate what it had, not what it wanted or felt it deserved. It was an important lesson then. It's probably an important lesson for today. And I believe that there is a religious ethic at play for all of us as we think about and meditate on our own spiritual lives. Ezehu Ashir, the tractate of Avot, the ethics of our ancestors, asks, who is rich? And the answer is, one who is happy with the portion that they have. And we're so driven. We're so accomplished, all of us. Can we look at our lives? Can we identify the blessings? And can we say, I'm good? And it's not just a self-help exercise I'm asking you to do. Every week, all week, we are commanded by the Torah to go out and to work and to conquer the world, to be creative, to be productive, except one day. And that day is today. It's Shabbat. Can you do it? Can you put your work down? Can you stop creating? Can you stop conquering and just be? It's hard, I know, because there is so much work to do and there are just so many emails to answer. But Shabbat comes, as it does every week of the year, and it's a time to accept that the totality of the work will never get done. So pull down that flag. Live in the moment. Don't live in the past. Don't live in the future. Gather the people that you love. Gather them close. And celebrate the blessings in your life. Lecha Dodi, page 23.
לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. 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 שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תריצי. על יד איש בן מרצי ונשמחה ונגילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, פני שבת נקבלה, פני שבת נקבלה,
I know that I just told you to put your phones down, put your email down. Give me one more second. Take out your phone, whatever you're using to communicate. Send a text or an email or a message to someone in your life. Wish them a Shabbat Shalom. Wish them a blessed weekend. And we'll come back together.
You may be seated. We turn to the Song of Shabbat. We are on page 25. מזמור שיר ליום השבת. I'm sorry, 27. טוב להודות לאדוני. מזמור שיר ליום השבת. ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות. עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, ולזמר לשמך עליון. צדיק התמר יפרח כארז בלבנון ישגה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד ינובון בשיבה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי ולא עוולת בו.
This week I was blessed to welcome Adele Noah Cohen into the covenant of the Jewish people. To Adele's parents, to Juliana and to Reuben Cohen, I want to wish you a Mazal Tov on the birth of your daughter, and to grandmother Nadine Habusha Cohen, I want to wish you a Mazal Tov on the birth of your granddaughter. If you are watching, I want you to get your children close, and we want to bless all of our children with the blessing that our children have been receiving for thousands of years. Are there any parents with children here? Yes, there are. You could put your hands on their head and you can bless them. Yisimcha Elohim ke'Ephraim v'chi Menashe, Yisimech Elohim ke'Sarah Rivka Rachev Leah. May God bless you and make you like our ancestors. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and protect you. May God bring much grace and light into your lives, and most of all, may God always grant you the gift of shalom, of wholeness, of peace. And let us say, Amen.
ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, לעולם ועד. לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש לדור ודור.
You know, we look around the room and we see the blessing of presence, the blessing of people that we haven't seen in a very, very long time. And what a blessing that is. We know that people arrive here, b'nei mitzvah, celebrating smachot, blessings in their lives. We also know that many people arrive in this space with prayers in their hearts for loved ones in need of healing, a healing of body, a healing of mind, a healing of soul. If you have such a person in your life and you'd like to include them in our prayers, I invite you to please rise and join our voices for Misha Berach, a prayer for healing.
Rofeh, Rofeh Leon, Refaenu, Venerafeh. Ki tehilatenu ata vehoshienu ki el melech rofeh rofeh ne'eman verachaman ata Chadesh yameinu kekedem ushelach lanu refuah shelema Rofeh Leon, Refaenu, Venerafeh, Venomar, Venomar, Venomar,
Refuah Shlema, a full and speedy recovery. You may be seated. I want to extend our communal condolences to Dorothy Tannenbaum and to Andy and to the entire Tannenbaum family and the Bernstein family and grandchildren, great-grandchildren on the passing of Dorothy's beloved mother, Esther Petersil, who was laid, or will be laid to rest in Eretz Yisrael just after Shabbat. We pray her memory is for a blessing and the family is comforted among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. We recall the following loved ones always in our hearts, especially this week of their yahrzeits: Roberto Aaron, Peter Berger, Judith Berkman, Ernestine Bernstein, Elliot Buck, Max Deutsch, Solomon Ginsberg, Martin Goldberg, Ira Goldman, Frederick Goldstein, Ida Handel, Samuel Kipperman, Edward Cohn, Edith Kreisman, Claire Laffer, Lloyd Landau, Senator Frank Lautenberg, Francis Levinson, Jacob Lichtig, Ralph Lichtman, Eliane Lokietz, Albert Marmer, Beula Meltzer, Jack Minikis, Milton Neustatter, Frederick Newman, Alan Obler, Helen Ostreich, Robert Olnick, Murray Paul, Nancy Iris Perlstein, Lawrence Robbins, Gabriel Rosenbaum, Dorothy Samuels, Hildegard Shaul, Betty Schreiber, Ira Solar, David Somech, Pincus Topol, Debbie Turbach, Henry Vole, Samuel Warschauer, William Weinberg, and Luis Tusia Zisman. It's also become our custom as we have arrived back here in the sanctuary, if there is someone davening with us this evening, either with a specific yahrzeit you'd like to have mentioned, or perhaps this is the first time that you are recalling a loved one in the presence of a physical minyan, we'll pause if there's such a name to be acknowledged at this time. Okay. If you are in mourning observing the yahrzeit of a loved one, Kaddish can be found on page 30. Mourners, please rise. Yit kadal v'yit kadash shemei rabah, be'alma divrach irtei be'amlich malchutei, be'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabah mevorach le'olam omei omaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudasha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We all rise. We're on page 39 for the evening service. Baruch Hu.
Lai lai la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai la la lai la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai la la lai la 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 yai la 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 barechu et Adonai hamevorach baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed la 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 yai la 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 ya la 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 yai na 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 na. You may be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteach she'arim ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים, אהבת עולם בית ישראל מחבת, תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים. We're on page 40, leading to the Shema, which we will recite together. Ki ehem chayenu veyorech yameinu uvahem negei yomam valayla ve'avatecha al tasir mimenu leolamim. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך. והיה אם שמוע תשמעו למצוותיה אשר הולכים לצוותיכם. We continue with the words of the Shema on our own, page 42. מען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת ואמונה כל זאת וקיים עלינו כי... We continue with our prayers towards מי כמוך on page 44, which we will sing together. ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל לחנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם. מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך נהדר, נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה, אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה, אוסף בוקע ים לפני משה, זה אלי, זה אלי, זה אלי ענו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. נעים לו לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך באלים. מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Shabbat Shalom. One of the great curiosities about people who believe in reincarnation is that they tend to believe that they were some royalty in years past. No one ever says I was just a window washer or something like that. One of the curiosity about Jews is there is an overwhelming, disproportionate number of Jews who walk this world thinking this was their bar mitzvah parsha. I bump into people in the street, in the market, and because I'm a rabbi, it's what I do. I say, great parsha this week. The number of people who said to me this week, well, this was my bar mitzvah parsha. Now, numerically, we do have a few this week. Was it anyone's bar mitzvah parsha this week? Yeah, last week. Okay, so it's a great parsha. I think people claim it true or not because it's a terrific story. It's a story about the spies who were sent by Moses, and 10 came back with a bad report. The tribal heads, 2 came back with a good report, and consequent to that loss of faith, which I know Sarah and Avery are going to talk about tomorrow morning, they were subjected to 40 years of wandering in the desert for the 40 days that they were scouting out the land. But however good the Parsha is, you know what's even better? The Haftorah. The Haftorah is, you're like shaking your head. Yes, it's a great Haftorah. It's a story of Rahab because 40 years have passed and now Joshua is in charge. And Joshua doesn't make the same mistake that Moses made 40 years earlier. Joshua sends not 12, but 2. Not tribal heads, but anonymous figures. And he does it not publicly, but he does it in secret. And he sends them out to scout out the land. And where is their first stop when they go into Jericho? The club. They go into a Beit Isha Beit Zonah, Beit Zonah, Ushma Re'uma, and my Hebraeus here, Donna, what's a Zonah? Let's just say we're in shul, a prostitute. So, the spies go in there. No, this is good. This is why we have people here, because they keep it real. So, and we hear the story, but the crazy thing about Rachav is Rachav receives these men, sends the king who's looking for these supposed spies on a wild goose chase. She saves their lives. She cuts a deal with them and says, I know that God has delivered this land into your hands. I will not reveal your whereabouts. You can go back in safety, but I am going to ask you in return that when it comes time for you to conquer the land, that you save me and my family. And sure enough, that's exactly what happens in Joshua chapter 6, that when the Israelites come into the land, it's noted that Rachav and her entire family are saved. Now, the question is, what's the take-home message of this story? Why is there an entire chapter, and arguably the entire sort of claim to the land is contingent on a once, twice, thrice marginalized woman, right? She's a woman, she is a Canaanite, and she is a prostitute. Thank you, Donna. And all of Israelite history is hanging on whether she can keep a secret. And her oracular prediction that Israel is going to enter into the land. Now, I don't have an answer. Maybe tomorrow I'll have an answer, but right now I'll offer you 2 possibilities. One that came from my teacher of blessed memory, Tikva Frimer-Kensky, suggested that this woman, Rachav, was a woman who, according to Midrash, interestingly, both married Joshua and became an ancestress to the Mashiach, him or herself, was the outsider. And we like to imagine that only Israelites left Egypt, only Israelites came into the land, but actually it was an Erev Rav, it was a mixed multitude that left, and maybe, just maybe, it was a mixed multitude that entered into the land, and because of that, it enhances, it offers a different perspective on what it means to enter the land, that it should be a land that can house multiple ethnicities all at once, the Rachavs and the Israelites all together. Another possibility, and this was not a possibility until Rabbi Zuckerman quoted Ben Zoma earlier in the service, that it also is suggestive of the possibility that wisdom can be found from unexpected sources. That we live in a time where authority is given to leaders, to people with letters by their names, to people, we think that those are the people who have a monopoly on wisdom. And the story of Rachav says, you know what, maybe it's that marginalized individual. Maybe that person carries some wisdom that needs to be heard and you should pay attention to. And maybe, just maybe, there are Rachavs in the world that are deserving of our ear. And maybe, as Ben Zoma taught, not just who is rich, a person who is wise in their portion, but who is wise, not the person with the most degrees, but who is wise is a person, halomed mikol adam, the person who learns from other and every person, that every human being has something to give, and sometimes the most profound insights don't come from the thunder and the lightning and the person with the big degree and the big title, but sometimes it comes from the still small voice who needs to be listened to. We're on page 45, Hashkivenu.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום. והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום. ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום. מעתה ועד עולם. Please rise if you're able as we sanctify the Shabbat, page 46. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השני שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שני לקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו. Our silent Amidah, our silent prayers on page 47. You may be seated as we conclude.
Please continue at your own pace with your meditations. One of the great balancing acts, delicate as it is, of any religious life is the ability to balance the universal with the particular. How do we balance our attention to the glory of God's creation, that we are but one of a diverse humanity, but also that we have a covenanted relationship with God, a Torah which is exclusively our own, and sacred places like Jerusalem, holy to the Jewish people. I want to invite everyone to open up your Siddurim to page 85, because it's traditional on a Friday night and Shabbat day that you should take out a Siddur and you should sing Shabbos Mirot, Shabbos songs at your dinner table. The problem being that here we are in shul, and you don't get to hear us sing the Shabbat Zmirot that we sing at our own dinner tables. And so when you look at the words of Yaribon, again on page 85 in our Siddurim Lev Shalem, you'll see this attention to the universal and to the particular. The glory of God's creation, a theme of every Shabbat, but also it concludes with a return to the temple, the city of Jerusalem, all here in one. And the particular of particulars when it comes to Shabbat Zmirot is that different families have different traditions. There are songs that are passed down, never codified, from one Shabbos table, from grandparent to child to grandchild. And the melody we're going to hear is the Pressler family tradition. And if you know a thing or two about Cantor Schwartz, then you know that he married Mrs. Pressler, or then Miss Pressler, now Dr. Schwartz to all of us. But this is the melody of Yaribon that was sung from table to table in the Pressler family.
Yaribon olam ve'olmaya, dai, Antul Malka Melech Malchaya Ovad Gevurtech Vetimhaya Shefar Kodamach Leachvaya Ya Ribon Olam Ve'olamaya Anto Malka Melech Malchaya Ya Ribon Olam Ve'olamaya Anto Malka Melech Malchaya Shevachim Nasader Tzafra Veramsha Oy 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 Lachel HaKadisha Divera Kol Nafsha Irin Kadishin Uvnei Enasha Chevat Bera Ve'ofei Shemaya Ya Ribon Olam Ve'almaya Antu Malka Melech Malchaya Ravrevin Ovdech Ve'takifin Machich Remaya Ve'zakif Kefifin Lu Yichye Gevar Shniyin Alefin Layol Gevortech Bechush Benaya Ya Ribon Olam Ve'almaya Antu Malka Melech Malchaya Ya Ribon Olam Ve'almaya Antu Malka Melech Malchaya Oh Oy boy 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 bam oy did I yai did I da die yai die 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 hey boy 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 hey boy 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 yai 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 oy did I da die 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 oy did I yoy baba boy oh ella dilei yekar revuta ויאפק יתמך מכל גלותה עמך די וחרד מכל ומיה יא ריבון העולם ועלמיה אנתו מלכה מלך מלכיה רברבי ועובדך ותקיפין מחיך רמיה וזקיף כפיפין לו יחיה גבר שניין אלפין ליול גבורתך בחוש בניה יא ריבון עולם ועלמיה אנתו מלכה מלך מלכיה יא ריבון עולם ועולמיה, אנטו מלכה מלך מלכיה. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותם ימליך מלכותי, בחיי חודנו וביומכנו ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. You can say amen. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה ושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צלות ונבואתו דכל ישראל קודם עווני ושמיה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן.
Cantor Schwartz, I have to say I'm very impressed. At the Cosgrove family, we just sing the Michigan and Penn fight song, but I think you got us beat. Okay, so Sarah and Avery and Julian, we're going to call on you, and everyone, if you're able, you can rise if you would like for Kiddush on page 55. Our B'nai Mitzvah will lead us in Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shavat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit. Ki hu yom tehila lamigraye kodesh zeher letziat mitzrayim. Kivanu baharta, ve'atanu kidashta, mikol amim.
V'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava urason, hincheltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat.
Amen. Yesher Koch, take a sip of your grape juice or wine. We remain standing. Page 56, 56, excuse me. The ark is opened. Aleinu l'shabeach.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ משה. כי המלכות שלך יולמיה תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
If you are in mourning observing the yahrzeit of a loved one, I'd ask you to remain standing, otherwise you may be seated. Kaddish, page 58. Yit kadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah. Be'alma divrach hirutei ve'amlich malchutei. V'chayechon u'b'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'bizman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei olmaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'alal shemei dekudasha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May God, who ordains harmony in the universe, grant peace to us, to Israel, to all of humanity, and let us all say, amen. You may be seated. Shabbat shalom. Did you just graduate college? Yeah, you did. Mazel tov. But remember, erudition has nothing to do with the letters by your name. No, I'm really proud of you. Okay. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Any other graduations? 8th grade, 12th grades, anything? Okay. Shabbat shalom, welcome. Thank you so much to Cantor Schwartz for leading our services so beautifully. Thank you so much to David Enlow and the ensemble for leading our services. Thank you to Rabbi Zuckerman for your leadership, for your words of Torah today and every day in our community, and to Ross Abloh and the technical team who make all of this possible. We thank you. Sarah Markowitz, we wish you Mazal Tov in anticipation of your bat mitzvah tomorrow morning. And Avery Metz, we look forward to you being called up to the Torah as a bat mitzvah tomorrow morning. And Julian Malter, tomorrow afternoon you will be called up as a bar mitzvah. And we cannot wait to celebrate the joy of tomorrow and all of the joy to come. Tomorrow morning we have our Torah class at 9 a.m. and then services begin at 9:45 a.m. I want to remind everyone that this week Rabbi Savinor and Elizabeth Diamant will be in dialogue about Teresa Bernstein and portrayals of early 20th century immigrant life in New York. That's our lunch and learn at noon. And then Shul Sisters concert, big, on Thursday, June 10th at 7 p.m., our own cantor Rachel Brook with cantors Rachel Goldman and Lori Akers. This is a powerhouse. This is better than the three tenors. These are the three cantors, Shul Sisters celebrating women in the cantorate. It will be available on PAS live stream. I also want to, I don't have the announcements here, but Rabbi Zuckerman, we're doing a few special communal dialogues about talking about Israel, the implications regarding the Israel conversation, how to talk to our children about Israel, what's going on with anti-Semitism insofar as it relates to what's going on in Israel. So if you have young children and you're looking for the vocabulary of how to talk about what's going on in the world, both here internally but also some cross-communal programs, I apologize, I don't have the announcements in front of me, but they are going on this week in the community. And what else do we have? Rabbi, so I'm shocked you didn't say it. I woke up this morning to a text that says, do you know what happened in 1984 today? And I don't know. It was from Rabbi Zuckerman. Rabbi Zuckerman, what happened in 1984? Wait, does anyone know? What happened?
Bruce Springsteen released Born in the USA.
Bruce Springsteen, right. This is what rabbis actually text each other, not Torah, but David, do we have anything from Born in the USA? No? No, just Yari Bun. Okay. And with that, for those who are here, we look forward to greeting you outside. We are expanding the numbers of people who are able to join us, so you can enjoy a high-carb cookie after services. Just like everyone here, all you need to do is sign up. Alan, you came all the way from Oregon just to come to services. Amazing. So it's great to have you here, and thank you, Darcy, for making everyone feel right at home back in the sanctuary. And did I miss anyone, Darcy? Oh, and Lauren, yes, sorry, I just thought you were here praying. Okay, which you are, really well. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. Let's conclude our services with, Cantor, Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, sung to born, no, it's not.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malchei hamelachim hakadosh baruch hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Baruchuni leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Tzedchem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.